What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, this one I got to admit is kind of sad in a way, but also was an incredibly exciting fight. I mean, Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chandler. And the reason I say it was sad is because the first round was the best Tony Ferguson that we've seen in several years. I thought Tony Ferguson was squarely winning the fight, and I thought he was going to actually cruise to a victory, prove my prediction wrong, and pull off an upset against Michael Chandler. But good Lord, that kick from nowhere. Michael Chandler said, I don't even practice that kick. It was just in the moment. I felt it, but that was one of the most brutal knockouts I've ever seen.
Yeah, when you're free flowing and you're finding that zen state inside a fight, that's when real special things happen. And they might not be something that you practice over and over and over again, but when you're just moving and letting your body do what it needs to do in the moment, that's when the beautiful things like that happen. And honestly, it's a brutal knockout, but at the same time, it's brutally beautiful. That was literally the perfect shot at the perfect time. It landed perfectly, the execution, everything. Michael Chandler should be happy because he now has a top highlight on his highlight reel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's full of really good highlights. Tony Ferguson did look great in that first round. He gets hit a lot, but he's got such a chin. I mean, nobody's going to take that kick and not go to sleep the way he did. But he did seem to be relatively durable in that first round and was able to get off some good offense as well. You know, Michael Chandler was appearing to, in my mind, to be gassing already within the first round.
He was hurt.
Yeah, hurt, gassed, and I just think that Tony's composure was good. Yeah, his head movement's never been great. You're not going to change that this late in his game, but he's durable enough to take some shots. And I thought that this being a 3-round fight, if Chandler's already gassing in the first round, Tony's going to be able to continue doing what he's doing and then coast to a victory probably 2 rounds to 1. Boy, was I wrong, because that kick came out of nowhere, and those are always the great equalizers in MMA. He could have lost first round and second round and done that with 5 seconds left in the third round and gotten his hand raised.
Yeah.
So that's why MMA is the greatest sport for me. That's why it's the most fun. You know, at halftime of an NFL game, if the score is 48-0, you can turn the game off or go watch another one, because you know that team's not going to make up that
spread.
Yeah, exactly. You can just turn it off because you know who won the fight or the game. The fights are not like that. And I thought that after that first round, Tony Ferguson looked like he had a lot of steam behind him and was likely going to win rounds and win a decision.
It's certainly what it looked like to me. And Michael Chandler said, I've been hit a lot of times in my career. I've never seen double vision before. Tony Ferguson had me seeing double after a couple of those shots, which I thought was interesting because it shows Tony still has a lot of pop left, even though he's pushing 40. But here's the thing, though. As you said, his head movement's never been the best, but his chin and heart has always made up for the lack of head movement. But I think it all caught up to him last night with that kick. And yes, anybody in the world is going to sleep with that kick. But the way Tony fell and how he hit the canvas, that was bad. I was really actually very concerned that he might be seriously injured and need to be taken out of there in a stretcher. It was a weird, scary moment. And I feel like all of those years of hard training, hard sparring, getting hit, being in wars, it's starting to catch up to El Cucuy, and I'm not sure how much longer I want to see him fight like this. Obviously, the belt is out of the question at this point, so you have to ask yourself, he's got how many fight of the night bonuses? Presumably, the guy's made all the money he needs in this world, and he's got a mega pop culture fan base to do whatever he wants to do after his fight career is over. So I'm usually not one to say that a fighter needs to retire or call for a fighter's retirement, but my God, as somebody who's a fan of the Boogeyman, who's seen him in all of those wars, I don't want to see him get knocked out like that again, because I'm not so sure that he walks out of the octagon on his own accord if he gets hit with another shot like that.
Yeah, and even looking past the night in the cage, like you're looking at the years later in life, and you don't want to be, somebody who can't speak clearly, can't move clearly, can't walk on your own, and just live a free life. And Tony Ferguson has given the fans, the UFC, the world plenty to enjoy over the years. And I don't think we're done seeing Tony Ferguson compete. I'd love to see him go deep into a jiu-jitsu or grappling career, and I think he would probably do that. It might be hard for him to prevent throwing elbows and stuff from the bottom because he does love that so much, but it's always difficult when you watch somebody who looks so good in the first 5 minutes of the fight and then gets devastatingly knocked out like that. It just makes you go, man, maybe he should, or maybe he shouldn't continue.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's not up to us to make that decision. It's up to him and his family and the people that care about him. You kind of have to watch him over the next few weeks. He clearly had to go directly to the hospital.
He was very confused. You could see when
Yeah.
they were calling the fight, or when Bruce Buffer was announcing Chandler as the winner, he like clearly didn't know where he was.
Yeah, the lights were on. Nobody was home. Class act through and through, even though he wasn't totally about himself. But, man, it was hard to watch. And like you said, I don't want to see it happen again. I think Tony Ferguson's given us enough. And he's proven that he truly was a top 1 or 2 lightweight for a long, long time with that 12-fight win streak.
Top 5 lightweight of all time, for sure.
Right. He never got to the belt, but, he definitely was that guy. He was the number 1 contender for the longest time. You don't get the name the Boogeyman for no reason. And I just think that the night belonged to Michael Chandler, even though he lost that first round. And, you got to switch into a positive direction. Michael Chandler, both inside the octagon and on the post-fight speech right there with Joe Rogan, he just delivers. The guy is a bombshell. He literally just seems like a little grenade or something.
Yeah.
Every time you get him, his voice is going to be sore from all the screaming he did on the microphone, but it's well worth it because I do think he's one of the best at post-fight call-outs in the game. And he called a couple of people out. Obviously, the main event had to mention that. But then the Conor McGregor fight, and as of right now, because of what he said with the 170 caveat, with you got to return to fight somebody. Chandler knows that even though he's coming off a huge win, his biggest win in the UFC, really, he's still not a championship caliber fighter at this stage because he's lost more than he's won. So he's like, you know what? Conor's looking for somebody who's maybe on a lose-win type of record, and that's me. And if you're compelling enough, you're interesting enough, and you're going to bring a fight, Conor is going to be interested. I think the 170 call out for Conor was brilliant.
Conor's coming back at 170. He is gigantic. He's pushing 200 pounds right now. Islam Makhachev has business with Charles Oliveira. Beneil Dariush is in the mix. Even though it was a great win and great victory, he did get hurt a couple of times in that fight, so who knows how long it'll be before Charles gets back in there. Michael Chandler is rearing and ready to go again. Conor McGregor is going to need a dance partner towards the end of the summer, and I think it was the perfect call out. Michael Chandler is going to make the biggest payday of his life, and he doesn't have to cut weight for it. What more could you ask for than that? When me and you are the same size and we concede to each other, we're not going to cut weight, we're just going to fight at our normal size, you're not giving up that size advantage. You're not giving up that strength advantage because we're just two guys that have an unwritten agreement that we're not going to do any weight cutting. So it's an easy payday for Michael Chandler. It's an easy, no-brainer call out, and I like the way he prefaced it. He said, I deserve the winner of Gaethje versus Oliveira, but if Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard have temporary lapses of judgment, I'll take Conor McGregor. So it was not so much the call out, but the way he worded it that I loved. And I think Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor is an absolute barn burner of a fight. Michael Chandler's coming to fight. Michael Chandler gets hit. Conor McGregor's got some of the craziest power 155 and 145 has ever seen. Both of them do, quite frankly. I have no idea who would win. I'm kind of favoring Conor just for the precision and the fact that Chandler gets hit a little bit. He's also a little bit shorter, and Conor's got very long arms for his height. So I think Conor would be able to use his range well, but then again, who knows? Because if it goes, you would presume that would be a 5-round main event type of situation in a pay-per-view. Chandler's hard to finish. If you go into that 3rd, 4th round, we know that's where Conor starts to fade. So I really hope they make that fight. I hope they make that fight. They give Islam Oliveira for the belt, and then we get to see both of those fights towards the end of summer. That would be the best situation for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. To your point, at 170, Michael Chandler's going to gas just as quick, if not quicker, than Conor McGregor. Conor and Michael have a lot in common, and their gas tank or lack thereof is absolutely one of those. They both hit like Mack trucks. They both come out swinging really hard in the first round. They do want to put on a show. They understand that there's things that can happen on the ground, and Michael Chandler would probably look for a shot here or there, but not without at least exploring the striking with Conor McGregor before he decided to do that. Be careful what you wish for, though, because Conor McGregor is absolutely one of the best strikers the UFC's ever had, and his precision is crazy. I do think when you give him somebody who's a stocky wrestler with an overhand, as he likes to call him, he's able to pick him apart. His distance management is really good. He's able to stay at the end of his punches and crack. And I think that Eddie Alvarez, Chad Mendes, those types of bodies are very similar to Michael Chandler, and he was able to make quick work of them and almost do it in a highlight reel scenario. So Personally, I think that's the best return fight for Conor McGregor. I think there's other matches that might do really well. You got the Gamebred Masvidal, you got Nate Diaz, potentially Nick Diaz. That's me. I'm kind of the only one talking about that, but I would maybe be calling for that. If you don't want to cut any weight, maybe try 185 and see how you like it there. He'd likely be the favorite. But I think if Conor McGregor comes back and wants to get back into title contendership, he's got to go with somebody like a Michael Chandler, because the magnitude of that fight would be huge. Michael Chandler is one of the hottest names in the game right now, and he's also a top contender at 55. And if Conor's able to beat him at 70, that's going to have title implications down at 55. If he starches him, we might just have one last run of Mystic Mac and the Conor McGregor that we know and love and we watched grow from the very beginning. And I think that Michael Chandler is the perfect dance partner for him to come back with.
I love it all around. Well, guys, we can speculate on who Conor is going to come back and fight. We think it should be Chandler, but ultimately the night belonged to Iron Michael Chandler last night. That was the biggest win of his career over the boogeyman, El Cucuy Tony Ferguson. Do us a favor, drop us a comment and let us know, should Tony Ferguson continue fighting, and should they make that McGregor versus Chandler matchup? We will see you in the next one.
Peace.